the night sky over Earth had always been familiar. Stars twinkled quietly, satellites drifted in their orbits, and space seemed distant, cold, and empty. But tonight, the sky changed. Every satellite in orbit screamed at once. Warning signals flooded control rooms across the planet. On screens, strange lights appeared at the edge of the solar system, unnatural, sharp, and moving in formation. They were not meteors. They were not comets. They were ships. Hundreds of them. A massive alien fleet had entered the Sol system. In Washington, generals rushed into command bunkers, their faces pale. In Beijing, red alarms echoed through underground complexes. In Moscow, deep-voiced officers argued over nuclear launch codes. Across every continent, governments scrambled, desperate for answers. "What do they want?" one leader whispered. But there was no answer. The aliens did not speak. No message came. No words, no warnings, no demands. The fleet only moved closer, engines burning bright as they cut across the void. Satellites tracked their course. Straight toward Earth. Panic spread across the planet. News broadcasts showed the strange lights growing larger each hour. Some called them angels. Others called them devils. In the streets, people prayed. In the cities, crowds filled every road, desperate to see the sky one last time. But in the military command centers, fear turned into grim calculation. "They are not here to talk," whispered a general. His voice was low, almost broken. "No fleet this size comes in peace." And he was right. At the edge of the atmosphere, the alien fleet slowed, lining itself into perfect rows. Their ships were sleek and sharp, like knives of steel, glowing with red engines. They did not broadcast signals. They did not try to communicate. Then, without warning, the first wave of fire rained down. Plasma beams cut through orbiting satellites, reducing them to molten fragments in seconds. Dozens of orbital defense stations were torn apart before they could fire a shot. The night sky above Earth filled with streaks of light as burning wreckage fell like falling stars. Cities below looked up in awe and terror as the heavens burned. In orbit, Earth's small fleet of defense craft rose to meet the invaders. Dozens of human ships, brave but outdated, turned their weapons toward the alien giants. "Fire everything we have," shouted a captain aboard the Unity. Missiles streaked upward. Railguns thundered. Nuclear warheads lit the void. The humans fought with everything they had. For a moment, the sky flashed with hope. But then the alien counterattack came. Plasma beams cut through human hulls like paper. Missiles were intercepted by swarms of drones faster than any fighter pilot could follow. One by one, Earth's defense ships exploded into fireballs, their crews lost in silence. Within minutes, humanity's proud orbital fleet was gone. On the ground, panic turned into chaos. News anchors cried as images showed alien warships hovering above Earth, casting shadows across oceans and continents. Cities fell into darkness as power grids failed. Communication lines burned with static. "They're here," whispered a reporter on live television, his camera shaking as the silhouette of a massive alien ship blotted out the sky. "They're here, and they're not stopping." Then the bombardment began. Alien beams lanced downward, striking military bases first. Entire complexes vanished in blinding fire. Airfields crumbled. Naval fleets turned to boiling wreckage in seconds. No words were spoken. No surrender was requested. The aliens had come not to talk, not to negotiate. They had come to attack. Skyscrapers toppled as shockwaves tore through cities. Highways split apart. Fires raged across the horizon. Billions of terrified humans fled, but there was nowhere to go. Earth itself had become the battlefield. In underground bunkers, leaders argued. Some demanded retaliation with nuclear weapons. Others begged for surrender. But as they shouted, new reports arrived. Strange energy readings. Unknown signals. Something hidden deep beneath Earth's oceans was waking. Far below the Pacific, sensors trembled with power surges. Old vaults long buried under rock and water began to hum. Doors the size of mountains cracked open for the first time in centuries. A low rumble echoed through the sea, shaking it like a storm. The aliens above laughed at Earth's weakness. They thought the planet defenseless. They thought the humans powerless. But in the silence of the deep, something vast was moving. The alien fleet, still confident, closed in for the final strike. Their commanders sneered as they prepared to erase Earth from existence. But their sensors began to scream. A massive shape rose from the black waters of the Pacific. At first, they thought it was an island breaking apart. Then golden light traced across its surface, brighter and brighter, until the entire ocean seemed to glow. The water erupted upward as the warship emerged. Black as night. Lined with glowing golden veins. Larger than any alien vessel in orbit. A human warship. On Earth, billions of eyes turned toward the rising giant. Hope sparked in hearts that had been drowning in despair. Soldiers shouted, civilians screamed, and even leaders fell silent as they saw the impossible sight. For the first time, Earth was not just prey. For the first time, the galaxy would learn the truth. The humans had not been silent. They had been waiting. And now, the storm was ready to begin. The Pacific Ocean boiled as the giant warship rose from its hidden vault. Waves towered over islands, storms ripped across the sky, and golden light spread from the vessel's surface like veins of fire. The ship was not new. Its hull bore the scars of forgotten wars, its armor blackened like volcanic rock. Yet it moved with power, as if the centuries had only made it stronger. In orbit, the alien fleet watched in silence. Their commanders had expected panic, surrender, perhaps nuclear fire. They had not expected this. That cannot be human design, hissed a Ketheri officer aboard the dreadnought Bloodfang. His claws clicked nervously against the console. This ship is older than their rockets. Older than their species' history. The AVT commander, crystalline skin glowing faintly, sang in disbelief. It is impossible. A primitive world cannot build such a thing. But the ship rose higher, golden light trailing from its massive engines. As it broke through the clouds, it turned its prow toward the alien fleet. Its weapons hummed like thunder before a storm. And then, for the first time, the humans spoke. Every comm channel in the system crackled alive. The same deep drumbeat that had haunted the Council now thundered across every ship, every planet, every listening ear. Boom. 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 Then came the voice. Calm. Human. Unshaken. You came in silence. You came to kill. Now you will learn, we are not the prey. The alien fleet froze. Some commanders laughed nervously, calling it a bluff. Others tightened their grips, fear gnawing at their hearts. The Ketheri admiral roared, trying to smother the growing dread. All ships, destroy it now. The sky erupted. Hundreds of alien plasma beams slashed downward, painting the clouds red and white. Missiles tore through the atmosphere, leaving trails of fire. Fighters swarmed like hornets, their engines shrieking as they dove at the lone human warship. The ocean below glowed as the bombardment shook the surface. For a moment, the giant vessel vanished inside a storm of fire and smoke. On Earth, billions watching through trembling broadcasts believed it was over. Their last hope, drowned in fire. But then the flames cleared. The warship still stood. Untouched. Its golden veins burned brighter now, glowing like rivers of molten suns. The ship moved. Not sluggish, not clumsy, not like the old rockets of Earth's history. It moved with speed and grace no alien sensor could track. One instant it hovered over the ocean. The next, it cut upward into orbit with a roar that shook the heavens. The first beam fired. A line of golden light tore through the black. It struck the alien cruiser Vorith directly in its heart. For a split second, the ship froze, then split apart silently, its wreckage scattering like ash. Another beam followed. A Ketheri destroyer crumbled. Then a third beam cut through a swarm of fighters, vaporizing them instantly. The galaxy had laughed at Earth. Now the galaxy watched its fleet burn. On the alien flagships, chaos spread. "Shields failing," screamed one officer. "Our weapons cannot lock," cried another. "They are moving faster than sensors can follow." The Cathari admiral slammed his claws on the console, his voice breaking with rage. "Focus fire! Bring it down! It is only one ship." But the warship did not fight like one. It fought like an army. From its sides, swarms of small golden drones launched into the void. They moved like predators, weaving between plasma blasts, piercing through holes with surgical strikes. Within minutes, dozens of alien vessels went dark, their burning carcasses drifting silently. On the ground, humans stared upward in awe. Cities that had been burning moments ago now erupted in cheers. Soldiers, once prepared to die, screamed with hope as they watched alien warships explode like dying stars. Children pointed at the sky, their fear replaced with wonder. "The warship, it's ours," whispered a woman clutching her child. "It's human." The broadcasts carried every moment. The world saw what the galaxy refused to believe: Earth was fighting back. But the battle was far from over. The alien dreadnought Bloodfang, larger than any human city, surged forward. Its engines roared, its cannons charged. Plasma beams tore across the void, slamming against the warship's shields. The golden glow flickered for the first time. The alien admiral hissed with triumph. "Yes, bleed, human ship. Bleed." But the human commander's voice returned, calm as before. "You mistake patience for weakness. But patience is the sharpest blade." The warship's core pulsed with light. Its main weapon ignited, brighter than a sun. The beam fired. The Bloodfang split in half, its pieces scattering into the void, molten and silent. The admiral's last roar was swallowed by fire. The alien fleet wavered. Their perfect formation broke. Some tried to retreat. Others charged desperately, screaming in fear and rage. But no matter how they moved, no matter how many fired, the result was the same. The human warship cut them down. One by one. Dozens. Then hundreds. Until silence returned to the Sol system. Wreckage floated in orbit, burning fragments drifting like dying stars. The once proud fleet that had come to crush Earth was gone. On Earth, billions wept. Not from fear, but from relief. For the first time, they saw the truth. Humanity was not broken. Humanity was not weak. They had been waiting. Watching. Preparing. And now, their answer to the galaxy's laughter burned bright in the sky. The warship drifted in silence, its golden veins glowing against the darkness. The human commander's voice echoed one last time across every channel. "This was your first strike. Now, you will see ours." The broadcast ended. But the galaxy had already heard. The Pacific Ocean was still boiling. Great waves rolled across the surface, swallowing islands and breaking against coastlines. Lightning cracked in the sky, born from the sudden heat. People on the shores of Japan, America, and the scattered islands of the Pacific stood in shock, their eyes locked on the impossible sight. From the heart of the ocean, a shadow of black steel and golden fire rose. Water poured from its surface like rivers falling from a mountain. The warship was colossal, dwarfing aircraft carriers and coastal cities alike. It had no wings, no sails, no visible windows. It was a dark spear cutting into the heavens, its golden veins glowing brighter with each heartbeat. Children screamed and pointed. Some cried in fear, others shouted in awe. Soldiers and pilots on the ground froze in disbelief. The humans had always dreamed of reaching the stars, but this was no dream. It was real. And it was theirs. Above the atmosphere, the two surviving Cathari warships scanned the rising colossus. Data flooded their systems, but none of it made sense. "Admiral," a Cathari officer said, his voice trembling, "the ship is not new. The alloy is ancient, older than any design we know. But its power, it surpasses even our dreadnoughts. the Admiral hissed, slamming his claw on the console. Lies. Tricks. It is an old ruin, nothing more. Humans cannot build this. The ship's prow turned. Golden light spilled across the void, washing over the alien fleet. The Cathari crews felt it not only in their eyes, but in their bones. Then the drums came again. Boom. 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 The voice of the human commander filled every alien vessel. Calm. Steady. Without fear. You came uninvited. You fired first. You think us children. Now you will learn. The human warship moved. Not like a cruiser. Not like a dreadnought. It vanished in a flash of light and reappeared behind the Cathari fleet. No known engine could move like that. Before the aliens could turn, a spear of white fire shot from the ship's flank. It cut through a warship as if it were paper. The vessel split in silence, its core exploding in a flash of blue light. By the stars, cried a Renari captain. It hunts us like prey. The swarm came next. Thousands of small golden drones poured from the carrier's hull, their engines singing with the same rhythm as the mysterious broadcast. They moved like a living storm, weaving through plasma fire, piercing shields, tearing apart fighters one by one. Alien pilots screamed into their comms as their ships vanished in bursts of fire. On Earth, billions watched the live feed. Cities still burned, but hope was rising. People stood on rooftops, in streets, in bunkers, staring at the screens. In New Delhi, families crowded around an old radio that somehow picked up the human broadcast, the drums echoing through the air. In Rio, survivors of the first bombardment cheered as golden beams split alien ships in the sky. In Cairo, a soldier wiped the ash from his face and whispered, "We are not alone. We were never alone." For the first time in centuries, the people of Earth did not feel like prey. The Council watched in silence. Their 1,000-ship fleet, the Great Alliance, was supposed to crush Earth in an instant. Yet before their eyes, one human ship was tearing through the vanguard. "We cannot track it," cried a technician. "It moves beyond light itself." The Avati sang low, sorrowful notes. "This is not new technology. This is something ancient. Something hidden." The Volthari elder raised his crystal hand, glowing faintly. His voice was calm but heavy. "Do you not see? Earth was never silent. They were listening. They were waiting. And while you laughed, they built giants in the dark." The Cathari admiral snarled from the screen. "We will not flee. All ships, prepare for a second strike. Drown them in fire." But even as he gave the order, the human ship pulsed with golden light. The hum grew louder. The stars themselves seemed to shiver. The second wave of alien firepower roared across the void. Plasma storms. Torpedoes like falling suns. The human warship disappeared again, vanishing in a flash of gold. When it reappeared, it was directly above the Bloodfang II. "Target locked," the human commander said calmly. A single golden beam fired downward. The dreadnought split in half instantly, torn apart before it could even scream. The council chamber erupted in panic. The laughter that had once filled the crystal walls was gone, replaced by fear. Leaders shouted over one another. Some demanded peace. Others demanded war. And in the silence that followed the screams of the dying fleet, the council realized the truth. Humanity was not silent anymore. Back on Earth, the great warship reached orbit. It turned its massive guns toward the alien fleet still hovering above. The commander stood tall on the bridge, his scar catching the golden light. His voice echoed across every frequency in the system. "This is only the beginning. You came to burn our home. Now you will feel what it means to wake a sleeping world." The golden veins along the hull brightened to blinding white. And then, with a roar that shook the heavens, the first human warship fired again. The storm of Starbound was about to begin. The council chamber on Orithal was built to impress. Its ceilings touched the clouds, its crystal walls shimmered with captured starlight, and its floor pulsed with living light that echoed the mood of the delegates. But on this day, the light was wild, flashing red and blue, reflecting the chaos inside. The delegates of 1,000 worlds had gathered, their voices clashing like storms. Only days earlier, the Council had sent a fleet of 7 HFY warships to Earth. Those ships were among the deadliest in the galaxy, armored behemoths that had once burned whole continents. The mission was meant to prove humanity's weakness once and for all. Instead, the fleet returned in pieces. The hook. The chamber doors opened with a thunderous crack. What remained of the HFY patrol entered the hall. The Admiral, Vaith, limped forward, his armor scorched and broken. In his claws, he carried a blackened shard of metal. He tossed it onto the glowing crystal floor. The hall fell into silence as the fragment slid across the polished surface, leaving a trail of soot. This, Vaith hissed, his mandibles clicking, was the blood fawn. One strike from a human ship, one ship, and it was cut in half. The others, gone. Vaporized in silence. His voice shook, though he tried to sound strong. His eyes burned with shame and fear. The Council reacts. The AVT delegates let out sharp, nervous songs that rang through the chamber. One ship cannot destroy 7 dreadnoughts. It is not possible. Your crew must have panicked. Your machines must have failed. Vaith slammed his claw against the table. Do not call me a liar. You did not see what I saw. Black hole. Golden veins. Faster than light itself. It moved before we fired. A murmur spread across the chamber. The Renari merchants looked uneasy, their silver skin flickering with stress. Our traders are hearing the signal everywhere. The drums. The voice. They whisper it travels through every channel. My people are frightened. They call the humans gods. At the far end of the chamber, the Dravik commander uncoiled his massive scaled body. His eyes glowed red as he lashed his tail against the floor, the sound echoing like a whip. Gods? They are no gods. They are prey that got lucky. If they can build 1 warship, then we must send 1,000. We will crush them. We cannot show weakness. Shouts filled the chamber. Some called for war. Others sang for peace. The crystal walls trembled with their voices. The elder's warning. Then, slowly, the Volthari elder rose. His crystalline body glowed with a calm silver light, casting rainbow reflections across the chamber. His voice was soft, almost gentle, but it silenced the chaos. You all fear them. That is the proof. Do you not see? Silence is not weakness. Silence is patience. And patience is the mother of storms. He paused, letting his words hang in the air. For centuries, humanity said nothing. They let you laugh. They let you believe. But while you mocked them, they studied us. They listened. They prepared. And now, they rise. What you call silence was never the end. It was the beginning. The hall fell still. The laughter was gone. No one dared to reply. The broadcast. Just then, every screen in the chamber flickered again. Static spread across the walls of crystal. The delegates froze. The sound of the drums returned. Boom. 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 The voice followed. Calm. Human. Strong. You call us children. You call us silent. Yet you fear us. That is enough. The screens lit up with an image. The scarred human commander stood on the bridge of the black and gold warship. Behind him, shadows shifted. Something massive was moving. The delegates leaned forward, their eyes wide with terror. The camera pulled back. Beyond the commander's ship, golden rifts burned open in the void. One after another. 10. 20. 50. From each rift, a new ship emerged. Some were sleek and sharp like blades. Others were massive, like drifting fortresses. They were all human. They were all alive with the same golden veins. The Starbound Armada was real. And it was here. The suspense. The Cathari warlord's voice broke the silence. It does not matter how many ships they have. We have more. We are the Great Alliance. We will erase them from the stars. But even he sounded unsure. The Avati delegates sang a broken tune of fear. No fleet has ever moved like that. No weapon has ever burned like that. If they are many, then we face the end of everything we know. The Renari envoy whispered, our people are already fleeing trade routes near Sol. The markets are empty. The galaxy is breaking before the battle begins. The council was falling apart. Empires argued. Old enemies pointed claws and blades at one another. And still, the golden rifts grew wider. Still, more ships appeared. The humans had been silent for centuries. Now, the silence had broken. The cliffhanger. On the bridge of the human warship, the commander stood tall, his scar glowing faintly in the golden light. He looked at the endless alien fleet ahead, then turned his gaze toward the stars. Signal the Armada, he ordered, his voice calm and cold. The time for silence is over. At once, thousands of golden ships moved into perfect formation. Their engines flared like suns. Their weapons hummed, filling the void with a deadly light. In the council chamber, every leader leaned forward, their voices caught in their throats. They had gathered the largest fleet in history to crush Earth. But before them stood a storm of black and gold giants. And the first shot had not yet been fired. The news of the massacre in the Sol system spread like wildfire. From the burning wrecks of 7 mighty Cathari warships, only 2 had escaped. Their transmissions were scattered, broken by static and fear, but the meaning was clear. One human warship destroyed us all. The Council of 1,000 Species sat in silence as the survivors replayed their recordings. On the great crystal screens, the image of the black and gold human ship flickered again. Alien crews screamed as golden beams cut through their ships like thin cloth. Wreckage floated through the darkness. The drums beat steadily. Boom. 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 The voice came once more. You came to test our silence. You will not return. For the first time in centuries, the council did not laugh. The hook. On the world of Orithal, the chamber of the council shook with voices. Every empire shouted at once. Fear filled the air, thick as smoke. We must act, the Renari delegate shouted, silver skin flashing in anger. Trade routes are collapsing. Our people hear human whispers in their sleep. Merchants refuse to fly near Sol. This silence is not silence, it is war. The Avati sang in low, trembling tones. Perhaps we should speak to them. Perhaps their silence has ended only because they are ready. If we strike them, we invite our own end. The Dravik commander roared, his scaled body coiling in fury. Enough of your weak songs. They destroyed a small fleet, yes. But against the full might of the council, they will fall. We cannot show fear. If we hesitate, the legend of humanity will spread. Already our subjects call them gods. The Cathari admiral stepped forward, his burned armor clattering with each movement. His mandibles clicked with rage. We lost ships because the council sent too few. You shamed us. But give us an army, give us the fleets of the Alliance, and I will burn Earth to ash. The chamber's light flared red, echoing the fury of 1,000 voices. The council voted. The decision was made. The galaxy would gather its strength. The gathering storm. The call went out to every empire. Summon your warships. Abandon your borders. Bring fire to the rift. From the desert fleets of the Dravik came hulking battleships, their hulls covered in jagged armor. From the Avati crystal cities came shining cruisers, their weapons glowing with light. From the Renari syndicate came carriers, each carrying swarms of smaller attack craft. The insectoid Cathari brought their vast dreadnoughts, spiked and bristling with guns. They came by the tens. Then by the hundreds. Soon, over 1,000 ships gathered in the black heart of the Andari Rift. From above, it looked like another galaxy had been born inside the void. Thousands of engines lit up, green, red, blue, and silver, forming a wall of firepower so vast it blocked out the stars. The people of the galaxy watched the broadcast with trembling hearts. The Boast. The High Speaker stood before the cameras. Her silver crest glowed brightly, though her eyes betrayed her fear. "Citizens of the galaxy," she declared, her voice steady only by force, "you have seen the human threat. You have heard their noise. But today, we stand united. The Great Alliance has formed. 1,000 ships. A force no single world can face. We will end this before it begins." The Ketheri warlord raised his claws on screen. "We will crush their single ship. We will silence their world forever. And the galaxy will laugh again." Some cheered. Others did not. On distant colonies, workers and children only whispered the word human. The fear would not leave their bones. The silence was no longer safe. The suspense. In the black heart of the rift, the fleet waited. Every cannon charged, glowing with deadly light. Torpedoes lined up in launch tubes. Shields shimmered across the vast armada. On the bridge of the Dravik flagship, the commander stood tall, his reptilian eyes burning with pride. "No world has ever faced such a storm. Not the Zorath, not the Janari, not the Ketheri's enemies of old. Humanity will be nothing but ash before the suns rise again." But even as he spoke, something shifted. The void rippled. At first, it looked like faint lines of golden fire, stretching across the darkness. Then the lines widened, forming cracks in space itself. A glow burst from within, brighter and brighter until every alien ship was forced to dim its sensors. The admirals shouted, demanding answers. But the technicians had none. "Unknown energy signature," one cried. It's tearing the rift apart." The Ketheri admiral bared his fangs. "A trap? Are they so bold?" The light grew, splitting the blackness into massive arcs of gold. The galaxy watched in silence, fear pressing down like gravity. And then, the first rift opened. The revelation. From the golden wound in space, a massive warship emerged. Black hole. Golden veins of fire. Its engines glowed brighter than the sun's. The aliens recognized it instantly. The same ship that had destroyed the patrol fleet. But it was not alone. Another rift tore open beside it. A second warship drifted out. Then a third. Then 10. Then 20. The rift became a storm of golden light. Ship after ship poured into the void, each larger, darker, and more powerful than the last. Some were sharp like blades. Others were vast, like floating fortresses. Soon, the number of human ships matched the Council fleet. Then they passed it. Hundreds more emerged. Thousands. The alien crews fell into silence. Their weapons still glowed, but their claws and hands trembled. The galaxy's largest fleet had just been outnumbered. On Earth, people watched the broadcast. Screens flickered, showing the sky above the Pacific, now filled with black and gold giants. For centuries, humans had dreamed of traveling the stars. Now they saw their dream rising before their eyes. The scarred human commander stood on the bridge, calm as ever. He looked at the endless enemy fleet beyond the rift. "Signal the armada," he said. The order raced through the golden ships. Engines roared. Cannons lit up with silent white fire. The starbound armada formed into a perfect wall, stretching across the void. And still, the humans did not speak again. They did not need to. Because their silence now was louder than any laugh. And the first strike of the storm was about to begin. The Andari Rift was no longer dark. 2,000 alien warships floated in perfect formation, their engines burning in colors that painted the void red, green, and silver. They were the pride of 1,000 empires, the combined might of the galaxy. To any other world, the sight would have meant the end. But not to Earth. On the other side of the Golden Rifts, the Starbound Armada was still arriving. Black holes. Golden veins glowing like rivers of molten fire. Carriers the size of cities. Dreadnoughts as large as moons. Humanity had been silent for centuries, but in that silence, they had built giants. The galaxy had never seen such a fleet. The stars themselves seemed dim against the golden light of Earth's war machines. The Hook. On the bridge of the Ketheri flagship, Admiral Vaith bared his jagged fangs. His voice carried across the fleet's comm channels. "They are many," he hissed. "But they are still human. Still children who play with fire. We are the Great Alliance. We are the blades of the stars. Today, the myth ends. Today, Earth burns." His warriors roared in response, though fear flickered in their eyes. At that moment, the human commander appeared again on every screen. His scarred face was calm. The drums beat slowly, shaking every heart in the fleet. Boom. 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 The voice spoke, steady and cold. "You have chosen war. Now face it. The firestorm begins." The command was given. The Great Alliance opened fire. Thousands of cannons lit the darkness. Plasma beams, ion storms, and antimatter torpedoes rained down on the black and gold armada. The rift glowed white, brighter than any sun. From the outside, it looked like the humans had been swallowed in fire. Millions across the galaxy cheered. The council chamber shook with relief. "See," the High Speaker cried. "Even their giants fall before our unity." But the cheering ended too soon. The golden light did not fade. The impossible defense. When the smoke cleared, the humans were still there. Untouched. The golden veins on their hulls pulsed brighter, as if the alien assault had only fed them. Their warships shimmered in the darkness, silent, patient, unstoppable. On the bridge of the Renari flagship, a young officer screamed, "We hit them with everything. Why are they still alive?" No one answered. The human armada moved as one. Their formation shifted like a living blade. And then, in perfect unison, the golden warships vanished. Death and silence. The alien fleet spun in panic, their sensors scrambling. Ships turned wildly, firing at shadows. Then, one by one, the humans reappeared, inside the Alliance formation. A blinding white beam erupted. A Ketheri dreadnought split in two, its pieces drifting into the void. Another beam fired. An AVT crystal cruiser shattered like glass, shards scattering into the rift. The humans did not waste fire. Each shot was precise, each strike exact. They targeted shield nodes, power cores, and command decks. Ships that had stood for centuries were erased in seconds. The golden swarms of drones spread through the chaos, slipping between fighters, cutting apart engines, tearing weapons from their mounts. Alien pilots screamed into the comms as their ships went silent one after another. The breaking point. Hours passed. The void burned. 500 council ships were gone. Then 700. Then 900. The Alliance was collapsing under the golden storm. The Dravik commander roared, "Do not flee. We are warriors. Hold the line." But even as he shouted, his own battleship shook under golden fire. A beam cut across its hull, splitting the giant ship apart. His final roar was lost in silence. On another vessel, a Renari captain begged for orders. "Admiral, we cannot win. We must retreat." His voice cracked, filled with terror. "The humans are not fighting like us. They are fighting as if they already know the end." The Ketheri admiral screamed for them to keep firing. But no one listened. His flagship was torn apart by a single strike, the light swallowing him whole. And then, the fleet broke. The survivors. The last few ships turned and fled. Jump gates opened in the distance, glowing blue against the golden storm. Those who escaped did so in silence, their crews broken, their pride destroyed. The rest were left behind, drifting wreckage in the void of the rift. Thousands of alien lives had been erased in less than 3 hours. The largest fleet the galaxy had ever gathered was gone. And still, the starbound armada hovered in silence. They did not chase. They did not celebrate. They only waited, their golden veins pulsing like the beat of a heart. The galaxy watches. Across the stars, people watched in horror. On the Avati homeworld, glass towers dimmed as the people sang songs of mourning. On Renari markets, merchants closed their stalls and whispered of a new age of fear. On Dravik warworlds, warriors who once roared with pride now trembled in silence. The myth of humanity had become real. And on Earth, deep beneath the mountains, the scarred human commander stood on the bridge of his ship. Screens glowed with images of the burning fleet. His voice was calm as stone. You thought us children. You thought us weak. But in silence we built strength. And this is only the first storm. The drums pounded louder. Boom. 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 The stars trembled. The galaxy fell silent once more. But this time, silence no longer meant weakness. It meant something far more dangerous. The rift was burning. Wreckage drifted in every direction, broken wings of Renari fighters, shattered crystal shards from Avati cruisers, and the twisted bones of the once mighty Ketheri dreadnoughts. The silence that followed was deeper than any the galaxy had ever known. It was not peace. It was the silence of fear. Billions of eyes across 1,000 worlds stared at their screens. Just hours before, they had cheered the sight of the Great Alliance's 1,000 ships. They had believed Earth would be erased like a mistake on a map. But now, as golden light rippled across the void, they saw the truth. The humans were not gone. The humans had never been gone. And now they had returned. The hook. The crystal walls of the Galactic Council chamber shook as the surviving Ketheri and Renari captains screamed their reports. Their voices were cracked, their bodies trembling, their ships nothing but memories. One ship, the Ketheri survivor roared, his claws shaking as he pointed to the glowing shard of wreckage on the floor. One ship destroyed hundreds of ours. It vanished into the dark and cut through us as if it knew every move we would make. Their weapons, their fire, it is not like ours. It does not miss. It does not stop. The Avati sang in a low, mournful hum, their crystal bodies dimming. We told you. The humans were never silent. They were only waiting. The chamber erupted into chaos. Some leaders shouted for peace. Others cried for war. Old grudges sparked between empires, voices rising into screams. And then, once again, the council's crystal screens flickered. Boom. 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 The drums returned. Humanity speaks. The image of the scarred human commander appeared on every screen. His eyes glowed with calm fire, his voice steady and sharp. You gathered your fleets to erase us. You fired upon our world. You thought your numbers would save you. You have seen the truth. One ship stood against your 1,000. And behind it are many more. The feed shifted. The council chamber gasped. The view widened, and the galaxy saw them. Not 1. Not 10. Not 100. But thousands. The starbound armada filled the rift, each ship a giant of black steel and glowing gold, their engines burning like suns, their cannons humming with power. They moved as one, silent and patient, a wall of shadow and fire across the stars. The commander's voice thundered once more. You laughed at Earth. You mocked our silence. But silence was the time we needed. Silence was the shield behind which we forged our strength. Now the silence ends. Now, the storm begins. The galaxy trembles. On the desert world of the Dravik, warriors dropped their blades. They had always believed themselves the fiercest fighters in the galaxy. But now they whispered the word human as if it were a curse. In the glittering markets of the Renari, merchants panicked. Ships were recalled. Trade routes near Seoul were abandoned. Rumors spread of human fleets hidden beneath oceans, mountains, even inside dead stars. The Avati filled their crystalline cities with sorrowful songs. They spoke of old prophecies, of silent watchers who would one day rise like gods. Now, they told their children, that day had come. And on Orithel, the council collapsed into fear. Allies accused each other of hiding secrets. Enemies threatened war. The unity of the Great Alliance was gone, burned away like their 1,000 ships. The Silent Armada. Back in the Sol system, the golden ships hovered in silence. The first warship floated above Earth, its golden veins glowing like rivers of light. One by one, the giants aligned into formation. Dreadnoughts, carriers, and titans the size of moons formed a living wall. Inside the command hall deep under Earth's mountains, the human officers watched the galaxy's reaction. Screens glowed with images of alien fear. Entire civilizations trembled. The scarred commander stood at the center, his face lit by the golden light of the Armada. He did not smile. He did not gloat. His voice was calm, but heavy with iron. They came to destroy us, he said. They thought us silent. They thought us weak. But we endured. We remembered. Now the galaxy knows we are awake. The suspense. The golden drums continued to echo across every channel. No one could block them. No one could silence them. Boom. 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 Each beat was a promise. Each beat was a warning. The human commander's voice returned. This is our message. We are not conquerors. We are not prey. We are humanity. And from this day forward, the stars will remember our name. Then the transmission ended. The galaxy was left in silence once more. But it was not the silence of weakness. It was the silence before a storm. On Earth, people stood together under the night sky, watching their forgotten giants rise one after another. From the oceans. From the deserts. From the mountains. Black and gold warships that had been hidden for centuries now lit the heavens. The laughter of the galaxy was gone. The whispers of fear had begun. And so, the first chapter of a new legend was written. The starbound tales had begun.